fucking scoot back a little so I guess so I don't punch the microphone.
Hey, come listen to our podcast, yeah. Please listen, it's a hitch. If you don't listen to our podcast, yeah, then you are a bitch.
Welcome to Filmoscopy, a podcast with shit. I'm already stumbling over my words. Let me start over.
This is what people love about the show, though.
Three what? Okay.
Red leather, yellow leather.
I am a real American. This is the Hulk Hogan thing, baby. He said red, yellow, leather.
All right. Welcome to Filmoscopy, a podcast where three friends come together. Oh, son of a bitch. Why can I not
When
say
it
that
comes
word?
crashing down and it hurts the side.
It's like where we all come together.
Cody, you have to leave this in. This is the intro. You better not cut this crap out. But you cut out. I remember that Mortal Kombat episode. I was like, "This is Alex, short for Alexandria Dukeshire," and he goes, "Thanks," and you cut that part out. I'm like, damn it!
Right now.
Yeah, he just cut to it. Oh, this is Alex. I'm like, damn it, Cody.
Oh, all right. All right.
Owen's over here like,
A sensible chuckle.
He's chuckling Morse code to
Welcome to
let me know that
Filmoscopy.
you're fingering his butthole right now.
This is a quaint little podcast with three friends from three different media eras. Three different people with three different opinions get together and discuss movies they may or may not like and or recommend. Our host today is Mr. Cody Stutzman. Yeah.
Yes, I am the host. I thought he was going to leave all that in
That's
just
all
for
the
the
people
sake
roaring
of
for
leaving
Cody.
it in.
He's the hostess with the most.
You just gotta leave all this in, dude. This is great.
Oh, yeah.
This is what people want.
Oh, yeah. It's what they want.
So host, take
With
over.
their-
I'm done.
What their devil made me do it review.
Well, joining me today, as always, is Lance
Hello.
and Owen.
Hi.
And today we are discussing our second new release movie we've ever done, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
The devil made me poop is what me and Owen called it for a week.
Look, the devil made me do it, okay?
The devil made me poop everywhere.
There's no other fucking way around it.
All right, so this is the third entry in the Conjuring movies, so I wanted to ask you two if you had ever seen the first two Conjuring movies. And I guess
Okay,
I'll
what
start
order
with
do you want to go in?
Lance.
Okay, I didn't know if we were going to do that because that's the order we're sitting on the couch today. Well, I have watched. Cody, did we watch The Conjuring together in theaters?
No, I think
I know we watched The Bell Witch together and a couple other movies. I don't remember The Conjuring.
Yeah, I think the first Conjuring anyway. I think we went with Carrie to go see it.
Okay, so that was another time I seen it. But yeah, I've watched that, and I watched the second one. And the thing is, I've watched them. I was going through kind of a really lull period in my life emotionally, so I was going to the movies a lot. So I went to go see The Conjurings multiple times in theaters. I think twice for the first one, and maybe three times for the second one. Yeah, I saw those. I haven't seen any of the other spinoffs because there's technically 8 other movies in this franchise.
Yes.
I haven't seen any of the spin-offs, the 3 Annabelles, the La Llorona, and then the Nun.
God damn, there's a lot of movies.
No, I have seen the Nun, excuse me. But yeah. I mean, yeah, but this is kind of like the new Friday the 13th
I heard
or
the
Saw.
Nun wasn't good.
There had some scary moments till you got to the end.
Yeah,
It jumped the shark for me.
it's one of those things where like the first half I think is a pretty solid horror movie, and then there comes a point where it's like, all right, everything's just out the window now.
That's exactly my thoughts on this one.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Well, before we get into all that, Owen, have you ever seen any of the other movies?
I saw the one. I think it's the first Conjuring movie where they're in that house, right? And it's like, I don't know. It's just a.
She's a witch. It's a witch that's just kind of freaky looking.
Because
there's somebody that hung herself on a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one
I'm
with the
pretty sure
clap.
that's.
The clap is like the most famous part from that movie, I think.
Yeah, when it said that ghost kid clapping or whatever. That's not the ghost kid. It's the chick doing it.
We're clapping them cheeks.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Wake up in the middle of the night, she's twerking on top of the wardrobe.
You just hear. Yeah, you just hear. Oh my god! Ah, it's horrifying. Oh, get me out of this haunted house!
You turn on the lights and she's riding you like Jabba the Hutt.
Hey, call the priest! Call the priest! But I'm pretty sure that's the only one I've seen. I've never seen any of the Annabelle movies, and I've never seen The Nun.
You ever see part 2? You didn't see that one with the nun in it?
I did not see part 2.
Do you know what she looks like?
Isn't it in the trailers? And she like looks at the screen. She's like, "Where?"
Maybe.
Yeah.
She looks like Marilyn Manson with even more drag.
Yeah, so we talked about this on another episode when we were discussing these movies, but you had referenced a trailer where like the nun comes like straight at the camera. That's The Conjuring 2. Because Lorraine is looking at like a painting of the nun, and it ends up actually being the nun or whatever.
That
standing
shit
there.
was fucking freaky in that movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, most of these movies, my general opinion, let's go ahead and get this out of the way, is the first half of the movies are really, really solid. If not, I think pretty good. And then it kind of falls flat because you see too much of the quote-unquote the ghost or the monster. So it's not as scary anymore. And then this movie completely jumps the fucking shark. Like, it embraces, this is Hollywood. And it has a lot of stuff that's not even really fucking feasible. Like the dude with the man titties.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude, people in the theater were laughing when they like cut to him, like his full body on the screen, and then when he showed up in their house, people in the theater were literally laughing.
Oh yeah, it was so ridiculous. Especially when he was in the house, I was like, this. I was just thinking, this is kind of stupid. Like, why is this happening?
I mean, I didn't pay good money to see me on the movie screen with a nicer head of hair, like that fucking dude. I mean, seriously, that dude had titties.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I'm not fat shaming because I'm fat, but I mean, seriously, like, why did he have to be naked? And I will get into that. I don't understand this demon.
He was a morgue guy.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand, but he was possessed by the demon, quote unquote.
He said, "The devil made me do it. I'm sorry."
Yeah. So I'll let Cody get into all that stuff. I have a couple questions about that because I
Okay,
did miss 10 minutes.
Yeah, just to go over briefly my experience with these movies and this franchise. I've seen every single movie in the series. Some of them are very much worth seeing. I think the first 2 Conjuring movies are great. Sort of what you were talking about, Lance, where a lot of them start off really strong and then just, really they fall off toward the middle or toward the end. The only one that I think nails it from beginning to end is Annabelle Creation, which is the second one, which is technically the earliest point for the Annabelle series. But the first
that one's ranked really high on Rotten Tomatoes. I know I don't put a lot of stock into it.
Oh, I mean, it's fantastic, and I think it's genuinely like it holds that level of like creepiness throughout the entire thing. But that is the only one in this whole series that does that. This movie, my thinking on it, and I was worried when going into it because I think his name's Michael Chavez is the director. Instead of James Wan, who directed the first 2. And Curse of La Llorona had a lot of potential, which is the movie that he directed and how James Wan ended up, finding him. It had a lot of potential, but it had the
trailer
same
terrified me of that movie.
Oh yeah, the trailer where the kid goes in the car and the windows and stuff are rolling down on their own and stuff. Yeah, I mean that it had potential.
That's part of the same series, right?
Yeah, and I think it was retroactively put in there because I think when they were originally making it, it wasn't supposed to be. But then James Wan liked it so much that he wanted to add loose connections to the Conjuring universe to make it a Conjuring movie. But this movie ended up having the same feeling for me. Nothing in the movie was scary. I mean, nothing at all. I think I slightly jumped at in the very beginning where they show the little kid that's he's possessed or whatever, and he's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really well done where the dad kind of knocks the door in, and he's trying to get his attention, and the camera cuts to the dad, and while it's on the dad, you hear his footsteps, and then so when it cuts back to the kid, he's already halfway to the dad, where usually it would focus in on him, and then they would turn around and start running or whatever. And So that made me jump a little bit, but other than that, the movie was not scary.
I had a couple "oh no" moments, kind of loud. Loudly. I just do that getting sucked in. I get sucked in the moment of the movie.
Yeah.
But I think back afterwards, I'm like, yeah, man, it's just I don't know. This movie, I didn't see the first appearance of the demon, the chick. When he's looking in that hole in the wall in the kitchen, and turns around and she's there and she grabs him or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you weren't there for that.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that. I did see her the second time when he killed that dude at the dog kennel thing,
Right.
the buddy of his or whatever. And you saw her, in those moments, which is cool. And then I saw her at the nut house, but then I don't understand why she took the form of the fat guy. And when you saw her at the end, spoiler alert, when she comes up, she's just a replica of the chick she's about to kill. That doesn't make any sense to me.
So was she controlling the people she possessed? Was she possessing the people, or was it the demon that she was telling to possess people?
It's unclear.
It's very convoluted.
Yeah, I mean, my read on it was that, she's a medium, much like Lorraine is a medium, but obviously they're on opposite sides. And when they have their connection going, she can, I guess she can just control things in the environment or in the area, because she lets go of the girl's hand, the dead girl's hand, and the body, the big fat guy, just like falls over.
Yeah, with the splat.
Yeah. One of the things that bothered me about it was this is the first movie where they're not really battling a demon or a spirit per se. Yes, a demon is involved, but it's really about trying to find this cultist or whatever and taking her out to solve the problem, which I guess is it's an original angle for this series, but it just didn't hit the same way. It's not the same as it's like, okay, there's a human person somewhere that's doing this, instead of just something that you can't really see or really do anything about. And that's what adds to the fear in a lot of these other movies, is like when there's something there that it's not easily taken care of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It takes the mysteriousness out of it.
Yeah.
And going back to you asking that question, when Cody said it was, it's very convoluted and unclear, the answers. In a movie, for a movie to be great, you have to have questions that people are constantly asking themselves in a good way after the movie, or they need to be answered directly in the movie in a clever way. This movie does neither. It's like very just, okay, she's a cult. But the thing is, it doesn't make much sense about this demon. And I mean, the whole possession thing, yada, yada, yada. But it doesn't make sense if he's possessed by the demon, but the demon is also controlling the dead body. That's that fat dude. And like I said, the whole thing, I just figured the demon was going to look like the chick that she was the first 3 times you saw her when she walked up to take the one girl back to hell.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. She just looks like her. Just a reflection with yellow eyes, like she's Darth Maul or something. So it's, I was just, like I said, my girlfriend, I'll give my girlfriend's opinion. She liked it. None of these movies are really scary to her at all. She just likes the story that goes into them and like looking up what the real story is for, obviously at least the Conjuring movies.
The 2 main characters throughout the series, they seem pretty compelling. And I think that's kind of like the ingenious kind of what this series, from what I can tell, is that you have these 2 likable characters that are,
But seeing them
it's
in
like
real
the
life,
Hardy Boys or something, you know what I mean? Yeah, seeing them it's like you can put these 2 characters that people love, and they have just so many like adventures that they went on that you could just basically make a movie out of it.
But seeing the real chick though, the real woman, Lorraine, she looks like someone that's been making up a lot of shit.
Yeah, and
she does. I ain't gonna lie. And like I said,
we're gonna get into that whenever I talk about the actual events that this movie's based on, because Ed and Lorraine Warren, pretty much starting with Amityville, they were just shrouded in controversy. Every time that they handled a case, it was always controversial. And
it was smart because they were drumming up business for themselves.
Right. And it's hard to say, like, did they really believe that they were doing like really battling demons and really doing this in the name of God, or were they just using that as an excuse to make money? And it's hard to say, you know. And these movies address that. Some of them do, like in The Conjuring 2. There's a whole interview section where there's like a denier as part of the interview, and as well as with the Warrens, and they're all kind of discussing like if it was real, and the guy's saying like, you know, well, this could all be faked and all that kind of stuff. And that movie actually focused on the Enfield haunting in England, where that case did have a lot of evidence to suggest that it was a hoax, as well as some of their other famous cases that aren't part of the Conjuring universe, at least not yet. The movie The Haunting in Connecticut is actually based on one of their cases, if you've ever seen that.
Horror is part of them too.
Yeah, and it ended up coming out later on that basically that family all kind of just sat around getting drunk one night and decided to make up a ghost story about their family just to get famous off of it, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It comes down to, again, if you are a believer in an afterlife,
A believer, you could say.
yes, or you know, like a non-believer. So I mean, going from, you know, conversations with both, I think it's safe to say that Cody and Owen are both non-believers, agnostic maybe.
Yeah, I don't really.
But you lean towards no.
Yeah, I don't really put much credence into ghost stories. I like them. I like hearing people's experiences with supernatural stuff, and I like watching, like, even dumb shit like Ghost Adventures and stuff. I love that. But I don't really believe in them, no.
Yeah. Whereas I am a very lapsed Christian, I would say this, but I haven't experienced a haunting myself. So I don't know how legit it is. Because from the outside, it just looks like a bunch of crazy people talking about it, but you have people that swear up and down. My girlfriend has said that she's had a few instances, and I do trust her. She wouldn't be lying to me about stuff like that.
And the thing is I've had a couple times where I've heard, like, I don't know if I've told the story on the podcast, but when I was younger in elementary school, like, my parents had went away to my grandparents' house.
When he was 13, he had his first
kiss.
kiss.
And I had my first love. But anyways.
Cody's laugh gets me.
It's pretty good. But I was Octomom Home Alone.
I had 8 kids with me.
But so
we were
yeah,
throwing
it was just,
soccer balls
it
in
was
Pakistan.
God damn it!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Let me finish this goddamn story. All right. So the pretext to this situation was that we had lived in this townhouse in Indiana, and my mother had my little sister, and we always had this kind of like weird thing where the baby monitor in her room would go off, like, and it'd make like weird noises and stuff, and we thought it was, you know, haunted. Well, we didn't think that, but, you know, it was funny to think that.
But it's something your imagination would run wild with.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't you have something else, like you were at your dad's house?
No,
You were home alone?
I'm not actually done with that one. So there's more to that first one. With so I was home all alone, and like I was playing my Xbox, and I hear like plain as day.
That's your first problem.
Yeah,
the Xbox.
I was playing the sex box. So I hear plain as day my mom in the other room just say, "Hey, Owen." And I like pause the game, and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Wait, shit, I'm home alone." So then I get real scared, and I like run outside in my PJs, and this is Indiana during like the winter, so it's cold as fuck. And we had our apartment where you could lock it from the inside, but you could still like move the knob.
Oh god, yeah.
So yeah, I ended up locking myself out of the house because I was so scared.
No.
I was so goddamn scared. I swear it was like vivid. But, I mean, I don't really believe it was a ghost. It was probably just me imagining something.
How long were you stuck outside?
I had my phone on me, thankfully, so I ended up calling my mom, and she
ended up calling 911.
Yeah, they're like, "You fucking idiot. What's wrong with you?"
Well, Cody has a story I think it bears repeating. I think he said it on the Christmas Vacation episode. But, Cody, go ahead and say about the old bloody man.
Yeah, so... I'll keep this version brief because I have gone into detail about this on a previous episode. But
it gave me again. Cody told me the story at like 9:00 in the fucking morning when I came over to hang out with him, and I was scared to walk around his house in daylight. And it's not even the same house. I was just terrified to walk around his house.
His house is scary though.
So yeah, the first story. There's two instances basically, but the first one is my younger sister. I think I was like maybe 4 or 5, and she had to have been like 3 years old or something, but she was scared of the dark. So in the middle of the night, if she had to go to the bathroom, she would have me walk her to the bathroom, and then walk her back. Well, right outside our bathroom, there were these stairs down to the cellar door.
Such a bad design.
Yeah.
That's a fucking great horror movie thing. That's just a bad design.
Oh yeah, it's terrible design. But to be fair, that house wasn't really originally a house. I think it was like a sewing factory or something at one point. Like, I guess the main house was like an office space or something, and then like the garage was like the actual place where they worked. But when we got back to the room, and she asked me, who is that old man at the bottom of the stairs? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And
you sure it wasn't your dad, like, doing work downstairs?
in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night.
He's like, this is the only place I can go, like, to pleasure myself.
Get out of here.
But, no, so that was the first one. And she swore up and down that she saw an old man standing at the bottom of the stairs, which is just terrifying. And then the second one was in middle school when I was in 6th grade. We lived like a block or so away from the middle school, so I would walk to school every morning, which meant that I would leave the house pretty much like an hour after everyone else, because my siblings would all ride the bus to the elementary school, and my parents would be at work. And there were we had porcelain dolls in the living room. Yeah, and
I hate those fucking things.
Yeah, they've always creeped me out. But there was one morning, because like my bedroom was like connected to the living room, and so I would be sitting on my bed playing a game or watching TV or whatever, and I'd look in the living room and see all the porcelain dolls on the shelf. And I remember one morning I just felt very uncomfortable, like something wasn't right, and I think maybe the porcelain dolls got in my head a little bit. I don't know. But regardless, I like grabbed my stuff and I like ran out the door, and I looked back at the house as I was walking toward the school, and I remember seeing like an old person like looking out the kitchen window, like down the street toward me. And it was bad enough to where even when I got home that afternoon, I was like sat outside for over an hour waiting for everyone to get home. Before I went inside because I was so scared to go in the house by myself.
Just curious, from your memory, do you vividly know what that old person looked like?
Were they hot?
Oh yeah, smoking. There's even a titty in the window.
That ghost is like pressed up against the glass, like with its titties hanging out.
He's like, there's a scene in
they say that ghosts stay around whenever there's something that was left undone or whatever. They just needed that hymen broken.
Oh god. Oh god.
You should have went in there with your dick swinging. Hey ghosts, I'm coming for you.
There's a moment in The Cable Guy. Jim Carrey is really fucking weird in this movie.
Yeah,
and Matthew Broderick is the main guy. He's in jail because of something Jim Carrey did, and Jim Carrey's just really stupid. And he's talking to him through the glass thing. He goes, Jim Carrey goes, "Okay, I know what you want." He starts unbuttoning his shirt, and Matthew Broderick's like, "What are you doing?" And he throws up his nipple against it. He goes, "Go ahead, touch it, touch it." And he's just like, and he goes, "Would you stop it? You're gonna get me killed." And he goes, "Oh, Billy." That's what's happening to Owen, to Cody. Oh, Billy. No, but for real though, do you remember what the old person looked like?
No, not really. I mean, it was just an old person with a white hair and a old wrinkly mug.
So, but it was something that you like could vividly see though.
Oh yeah, and who, being someone who doesn't necessarily believe that ghosts are real, it could have just been, an instance of like I'd gotten so much in my head sitting in the house and thinking about like the dolls and stuff that when I got outside, I saw it, but Who knows? And
that's exactly what I think it is. Usually, it's people getting in their own heads about a lot of this stuff.
There's a part 3 to this ghost, though. Cody needs to say what his dad said.
Okay.
What did my dad say? Oh yeah, my dad.
He said, "You see that old ghost with the huge tits?"
My dad told me one time that this is after I moved out, but he said like sometimes he'd be sitting at home, by himself, and he'd start hearing like noises around the house, and it wouldn't faze him. He would just like call out and be like, oh damn, what did he say? He said something like,
I'm not bothering you. You don't bother me.
Yeah, that's what it was. He's like, yeah, I'm not bothering you, so you don't need to bother me. And like, just so nonchalant about it. It's like, okay.
Now, have you asked him, Cody? I'm just curious if he's experienced anything else, though.
No, I haven't. But that would be a good thing for me to ask and maybe add to the next episode if there is anything.
You might want to like just send him a text right now.
Be like, hey,
just see if he responds back. Just curious.
You see the big titty ghost?
It's like, Dad, have you seen anything? I'll cover for you, Cody. So, weather's been crazy, right, Owen?
All
right, so
what's the deal with airline food, huh?
Yeah. Airline food. Am I right?
All right, before we actually get into the movie,
I don't understand that joke.
Before we get into the movie, I do want to go over the case, and I'm pretty much gonna read the Wikipedia page because that's just the most.
Hey man, I ain't
source.
No college professor. You can use that as a source, Cody. Go
yeah,
ahead.
it's like look, if you want the sources, go to the Wikipedia page and click on the sources. Okay, they're there. But
and then cite those.
But what they don't know is every source I've linked to a porn account.
It looks like a normal source, but when you click it,
you see grandma titties.
You see the source.
So much for me not
life.
cussing in this episode. Go ahead and say that right now.
All right. So, Arnie Cheyenne Johnson was the guy's full name, and Debbie Glatzel provided firsthand accounts for the version of events depicted in Discovery Channel's A Haunting, which I actually used to watch that show when I was a kid.
I love that show. That show fucking creeps me out.
Oh, yeah. It was specifically in the episode Where Demons Dwell. They did not believe in demonic activities themselves, but they claimed their father to be an eyewitness to demonic possession. Both Johnson and Debbie were adamant in their support of the Warrens' recollection of events, which is interesting to note because I read elsewhere that, what was the kid's name? David? Yeah, David Glatzel.
Yeah.
Him and the rest of the family don't really support what the Warrens' version of events
No, it's
are.
the dad.
Oh, it's the dad.
Yeah, he's a non-believer. He says, he's like, well, I think it was his dad or it's the brother, because he said something like they were just exploiting his brother's or son's mental illness.
It's David, because David is like distanced himself from all this and all that. So, and I think he at least is one that says, I don't think it was true or whatever, but
isn't he the one that was possessed, though?
Yeah, he was the one that was possessed. But maybe it's an instance where in his adult life he had been diagnosed with a mental illness or something. So, he's like, maybe he thought that they were just taking advantage of him and he holds a grudge or he, is just angry about it or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, is understandable. They asserted that paranormal activity began after they went to clean up a rental property they had just acquired. David recollected that an old man appeared, pushing and terrifying him. The couple initially thought David was using the old man as an excuse to avoid cleaning, but David informed them that the old man had vowed to harm the Glatzels if they moved into the rental home. David's visions of the old man included the man appearing as a demonic beast who muttered Latin and threatened to steal his soul. Although the family allegedly heard strange noises coming from the attic, no one but David ever witnessed the old man. After David experienced night terrors, exhibited strange behavior, and obtained unexplained scratches and bruises, the family called upon the services of a Catholic priest who attempted to bless the house. The terrified family concluded that the house was evil and would no longer continue to rent it. David's visions worsened, occurring in the daytime as well. 12 days after the original incident, the family summoned the self-proclaimed demonologist Ed and Lorraine Warren to assist. Lorraine allegedly witnessed a black mist materialize next to David, an apparent indication of a malevolent presence. Debbie and her mother told the Warrens they had seen David being beaten and choked by invisible hands and that red marks had appeared on his neck afterward. David had started...
Lance started laughing when he said invisible hands.
I'm like, well, maybe David's got a kink.
Yeah.
And then he goes, fucking hit me.
See, what I want to say here is that it's just so funny to me that they would be like, oh, it's got to be demonic possession. Like, no, don't take your kid to like a psychiatrist or anything.
Yeah.
Well, this is in the 70s.
This is the 80s.
Or 80s.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, by the way, that is funny.
They just put
it
on
is
new
funny.
wave music and just rode with it. You know what I mean?
They said, don't need money, don't
It-
need fame.
They said, David, if you don't stop this
This is fair.
possession, I'm gonna we're gonna go out to my car. Doo, 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 doo. Okay.
And I ran so far away.
Gotta get away.
Couldn't get David away. Doo, 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 doo. All right.
David likes to get beat.
Take on demons.
Okay, quick question though,
Yeah.
because I read a lot of the same stuff on the Wikipedia. I didn't go like completely like read everything. I just was curious about the aftermath. This stuff that you're sourcing is saying that the family has said this, right?
That the family had what?
This is the family. Excuse me. This is the family that's saying that they saw David get beat by invisible hands or whatever, getting choked, or it looks like he's struggling with something.
So I think this is a combination of the episode on a haunting, which was Arnie and Debbie specifically that provided their accounts on, and then some of it is information from the Warrens and I guess maybe the mother or something had said at one point, but it could just be Debbie recollecting what her and her mother had witnessed themselves. But it seems like the main source through a lot of this, at least through most of these main events, is from the haunting episode.
Okay, yeah. Which is, like I said, I mean, I probably have seen that episode and just don't remember it because I watched all those.
Yeah, I mean, that was what, 15 years ago or something?
Yeah,
When
I
that was
think I
on.
watched. I used to skip going to some of my classes because down in Austin P they had like a little lounge you could watch TV, and I had to go down there and watch a couple episodes of this show.
You just sit in the lobby of the college while you.
Well, no, it's a lounge, not lobby. It's like down. Okay, you remember? Have you ever been to Austin P?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been inside, but
You just look at it with the pictures, like, oh, it's pretty.
yeah.
I'm just
I mean,
kidding.
I've been on campus.
The
but I've not
UC, the University Center.
Yeah.
Upstairs is like a really cozy spot. You can go up there and study. The middle is obviously really busy, and you go downstairs, and then there's like a little tiny store downstairs you can buy snacks in. It may have turned into something else.
That's usually where all the football players like to get rowdy and pretend like they play for a good college.
Calm down, Cody.
Don't worry.
He's right though.
When I
Cody's
was
like,
there,
no one's good at Springfield High, okay?
when I was there, they got beat by Kentucky like 88-7 or some ridiculous
fucking
crap
Kentucky.
like that.
Okay, put it to you this way, Cody. Kentucky is like, that's a SEC team compared to like a like Division I football team.
Oh,
which is
I'm
like
sorry.
the
Did I
smallest it
say
is.
did I say Kentucky University? I meant Kentucky Tech.
I don't think there's a Kentucky Tech.
I know.
Cody.
Yeah.
I'm just messing. I'm just saying.
I'm
But,
at Bethel University.
but here's the thing: Austin P for those big games. I'm not gonna sit there and defend them like the football stuff because they actually are really good for the division of football they're in now. But Austin P, they get paid a shit ton of money to go get their ass beat by these big schools. I mean, they went to go play University of Tennessee 2 years in a row, and that paid for their brand new football stadium.
They said, "Let's go."
So.
Let's go get our asses kicked.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. It's like, yeah, they're going to go beat UT. No, it didn't work.
Yeah. Then the big quarterback tackled me, and I was on the ground with my legs and arms broken. Is that hot, baby?
And here's just to get back to the thing before I lose this thought, is also we have to like take into account that Arnie was charged with first-degree manslaughter.
Yeah.
And that his first defense was going to be that he was demonically possessed, but then they just made it self-defense. So he has to kind of clean the story to kind of keep the innocence look to him, because a lot of people will look at him like bullshit anyway. But there's going to be plenty of people that believe him.
In reality, was there any basis on the self-defense? Because in the
Well,
movie,
he got 5 years because of self-defense.
Well,
Okay.
we'll get to that in this, but
Yeah.
I'll continue if you don't mind.
I do mind.
Oh.
Let's end the episode now.
Do you mind?
So I guess that's it. Thanks for listening.
Already more entertaining than the Escape from Alcatraz episode.
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm hoping to get that up. It'll have to be Tuesday because Monday I'll be busy all day. But I was gonna do it this past week. But
Doing what,
I had
Cody?
terrible service where I was at, so I couldn't.
I mean, today would have been a perfect day because of the anniversary was
Yeah,
today.
I know.
But, you son of a bitch. It probably sounds terrible. I mean, I'm not upset if that episode gets lost, to be honest with you.
Well, it probably won't have like a full 2-week run or anything because I want to get this episode out.
While that's still fresh.
Yeah, relatively quick, but I'll at least let it breathe for probably a week.
Breathe in, breathe out.
All right. David had started to growl, hiss, speak in otherworldly voices, and recite passages from the Bible or Paradise Lost. The Glatzels recounted how each night a family member would remain awake with David as he suffered through spasms and convulsions. After receiving a prognosis of multiple possessions from the Warrens, David was subjected to 3 lesser exorcisms. Lorraine asserts that David levitated, ceased breathing for a time, and even demonstrated the supernatural ability of precognition, specifically in relation to the manslaughter Johnson would later commit. In October 1980, the Warrens contacted Brookfield police to warn them that the situation was becoming dangerous. According to eyewitness testimony, Arnie Johnson coerced one of the demons purportedly within David to possess him while participating in David's exorcisms. It is here that a haunting veers away from the circumstances of Johnson's possession as described by those involved. According to the show, a few days after Johnson egged the demon on during the exorcism, he was attacked rather viciously by the demon, which allegedly took control of his car and forced it into a tree. Fortunately, Johnson was unharmed. Unfortunately for the demon, Johnson had just lost his virginity. That was a joke.
Unfortunately for Johnson, the demon took his virginity.
I thought that was really in the report. I was like, wait, how did they know?
Well, it's hey, I got to do another quick sidebar to a Jim Carrey movie. Because at the ending of this movie, there's a Jim Carrey moment that I had at the movie theater.
He did the same thing that he did.
On the Blair Witch.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was up there by the projector because it was just us. Yeah. No one else was in there. I didn't realize I was so damn close. I would have done it more often. Like, I hold silver away. No, but at the end of the second Ace Ventura movie, the same movie that he does that, the tribes, the African tribes, they marry their prince and their princess. And they go into the tent to consummate the wedding. Well, the prince comes out. It's like, watcha, watcha, watcha. He's all pissed off. And then Jim Carrey goes, what is he saying? He goes, he's saying she's not a virgin. And he stares at me. Jim Carrey goes, they can tell that? So just think about Owen saying it. Like, how do they know? Owen's the one that took Arnie's virginity.
They're like, let's look at his hymen.
Oh, God. Hey, real quick question. Do you think, this is a serious question, if somebody is possessed and having these like convulsions and stuff like that, you would have to think they're shitting themselves, right?
The people, like, do you mean like metaphorically shitting themselves?
No. I'm talking about the person that's convulsing, like, oh, I'm possessed, Latin, blah, blah, blah. And then that he's like spitting, howling like an animal. He would have to shit himself in that same time.
Yeah, but I think
because you're losing all your bodily functions.
I think because the demon is possessing him, the sphincter releases in such a way that it releases a fine mist as opposed to a solid.
Shut the fuck up, Cody.
That's the demon. That's the demon's. That's the demon's energy. Really.
For a hot second, I'm like, "What the fuck is he reading?" And then, I'm like,
"Would you
shut the fuck up?" That's great.
What if they came also while they were? Wouldn't that be funny?
Do you think maybe the demon could be holding his nipples as he's coming?
Yeah. What if the demon was just like, had a big dick?
You think the demon might be licking his butthole? Hey, instead of when this is really bad, and this is the demon talking to the little kid, not the little kid.
Oh no!
And he's like, "I'll stop your heart, old man." What if he goes, "I'm gonna tongue punch your fart box, old man"? And he's making that face.
He'd have to be very careful what he said next.
I mean, I'd have to imagine getting your tongue punched is like ticklish.
Yeah, maybe. Oh,
what's going on?
The kid in this movie, he looks like the kid from that movie Happiness. I showed you the clip, right, where he's like, "Would you?
Oh God!
Would you fuck me?" He's like,
that's such
"No,
a fucked up movie.
I jerk off instead."
To be honest with you, he looks like the stereotypical kid. He looks like an offshoot of the kid from the Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he does, yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
He looks like a fucking dork. If you're listening to this podcast, kid, you're a fucking nerd.
Oh, God.
Well, he obviously has been studying Latin and shit like that.
Oh,
How in the fuck? Let's just be honest with you. Okay, where was this taking place at in Texas?
It was Connecticut, I think.
Is it Connecticut? Because they seem far away.
I thought it was Massachusetts.
It may be Massachusetts.
No, another instance was in Massachusetts. The instance with the girl was in Massachusetts. And remember, later on, they have the map out, and they're like, why is this one so far away? You know?
Because he ran away.
So far away.
No,
yeah,
it took
place in Brookfield, Connecticut.
Okay, where in the fuck is this kid going to fucking learn Latin? And how would these people know that he's been speaking Latin? Like if somebody just started going like, like, what are you speaking? Some fancy Spanish?
Yeah, he's just going like, "Esum domine esu."
He probably learned one Spanish word and kept going, hold a day, hold a day, hold a day, which is, go fuck yourself in Spanish.
Hodor. All right, I'm going to continue on with the story.
That's the way Cody said that. Sorry. Like he's saying sorry and story at the same time.
Like you to say
story.
All right. After this incident, Johnson returned to the rental property returned to the rental property to examine an old well that supposedly housed the demon. In both the dramatized version and his personal account, Johnson recollects that this was his final encounter with the demon while completely lucid. After encountering the demon at the well and making eye contact with it, not whatever the fuck I just said, he became possessed. The Warrens claim to have warned him not to do this, although their warning was not mentioned in the haunting. As David's condition worsened further, Debbie and Johnson, who had been living in her mother's home, decided it was time to move. Debbie was hired by Alan Bono, a new resident in Brookfield, as a dog groomer. Debbie and Johnson began renting an apartment.
An older brother of Bono from U2.
I don't think. Are you referring to the older brother as like the guy that he kills?
I guess.
Yeah, I don't think that guy was related to him. I think he was just a weirdo that rented out the dog grooming place.
No, Cody, I don't think you understand the joke. Say the man's name again that gets killed. Steve Bono?
No. I don't think Alan Bono's the one he kills.
Yeah, that's the one he's the dog groomer that gets killed by Arnie. He's the guy that's all drunk partying.
You're right.
But his last name is Bono, and I made a joke that he's the older brother of Bono, the lead singer from U2. You completely shit on the joke without knowing it.
Yeah.
Have you heard Bono's version of Hallelujah?
No, I really wouldn't.
It's the worst.
I wouldn't like to.
It's the worst fucking thing I think I've ever heard. It's so comically bad.
I don't know, man. I've listened to Tom Green.
It is worse than Tom Green.
No, it's probably not worse than Freddie Got Fingers.
It is worse than... It's
my hooves, Daddy! You gonna tell me that's not worse? Look at my hooves! This is the clank!
Yeah, it's worse than that. It's pretty...
Owen gets this look on his face like I challenge him. He goes, no, it's worse.
No, it's pretty fucking bad.
Owen, do you use iPhone or do you use Android?
I have an iPhone.
I use Android 18.
Did you have an iPhone?
Sweet vagina.
That's what I use.
Did you have an iPhone back when the whole deal came about that they automatically added like the newest U2 album to everyone's music library?
No, but I think my girlfriend did.
Oh gosh, I got up one morning. I was like, "What the fuck is this? Like, why is this on my phone?"
YouTube, these guys fucking suck.
They had some good shit in the 80s, though.
Hallelujah. That's literally what it sounds like. I think I did it better than Bono.
You are very good at singing and playing guitar when you're sarcastically doing it.
Yeah, when I'm sarcastically Bono.
Yeah. That's gonna be
right.
Owen's new nickname on the podcast, sarcastically Bono.
That's his new podcast where he reviews all the U2 albums.
That's gonna be his fucking contact name on my phone, sarcastically Bono.
All right, as okay,
There's a young man walking the streets of Connecticut.
Yeah, we don't even know where.
No, like we got to the dog grooming part, like he meets them.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
he starts fucking dogs.
Boy.
Debbie and Johnson began renting an apartment close to her place of employment. After moving in, Johnson started to exhibit odd behavior that was strikingly similar to David's, causing Debbie to fear that he had become possessed as well. According to Debbie, Johnson would fall into a trance-like state wherein he would growl and hallucinate, but later have no memory of it. On February 16, 1981, Johnson called in sick to his job at Wright Tree Service and joined Debbie at the kennel where she worked. Along with his sister Wanda and Debbie's 9-year-old cousin Mary, Debbie's 9-year-old cousin Mary, Bono, the couple's landlord and Debbie's employer at the kennel, bought the group lunch at a local bar and proceeded to drink heavily. After lunch, the group returned to the kennel. Debbie then took the girls to get pizza, but insisted they return quickly, which doesn't make sense because he just took them out to lunch and then they went out to go get pizza.
I need pizza now.
Well, maybe he went out to lunch. Read that part again.
They were gonna feed pizza to the dogs.
So, Bono bought the group lunch at a local bar and proceeded to drink heavily. After lunch, the group returned to the kennel. Debbie then
maybe
took
this is for dinner. I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
it
this
could-
is for
it
the
could
kids.
be,
I don't
yeah.
think they had the kids at the bar.
Who knows?
Good.
Yeah, it could be. It could be they didn't take the kids with them. It could be that it was later
Whoever
on in
typed
the
in this
evening.
Wikipedia article doesn't know shit.
Yeah, learn to place context clues, asshole.
I need more fucking adverbs, ass white.
Where's all the prepositions?
Oh, by the way, prepositions. There's a podcast I listen to called I'll Take Three. Three really smart people, and they pick these like different themes, and one of them was prepositions in the title. I didn't say that word correctly, but fuck it, whatever. So yeah, if you get a chance, people, check out I'll Take Three. It's Alex's podcast.
Okay.
Sorry, Cody. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. She insisted they return quickly, anticipating trouble. When they returned, Bono, intoxicated at this point, became agitated. Everyone left the room at Debbie's urging, except Bono, who seized Mary and refused to let go. Johnson headed back to the apartment and ordered Bono to release Mary. Wanda recounted the following events to the police. Mary ran for the car as Debbie attempted to mitigate the situation by standing between the two men. Wanda tried in vain to pull Johnson away. Johnson, growling like an animal, then drew a 5-inch pocket knife and stabbed Bono repeatedly. Bono died several hours later. According to Johnson's lawyer, Bono had suffered 4 or 5 tremendous wounds, mostly to his chest, and one that stretched from his stomach to the base of his heart.
Damn.
Johnson was discovered 2 miles from the site of the killing and was held at the Bridgeport Correctional Center on bail of $125,000. This was the first unlawful killing in the history of Brookfield, Connecticut. The day after the killing, Lorraine Warren informed the Brookfield police that Johnson was possessed when the crime was committed. A media blitz soon surrounded the story, fueled in part by the Warrens, whose agents promised that lectures, a book, and even a movie detailing the gruesome case were in the works. That already throws up a red flag right there, right?
Well, Lorraine, she seems like the brains of the operation. If you look at that, like, the interview at the end of the movie when they show the actual footage of the people, Ed, that's his name, right? Ed Warren.
Yeah.
He just looks like, I'm just following my wife's lead, dude.
Well,
He looks like that type of guy, and she looks like
she
oh.
is the one that's supposed to have all the
Yeah.
She's dead now, but she's the one that sit there and like worked with James Wan on the first Conjuring movie.
Yeah,
and all that.
she worked closely with them, I think, on everything that involved the Warrens.
Yeah, I don't know how long she was able to make it. I can't remember when she died.
She died a couple years ago because they're at the end of the third Annabelle movie, which I believe was the last movie to come out before this one, or maybe it came out right before La Llorona. But there was like a memorial thing at the very end of the film for her. So Martin Manella, Johnson's lawyer, received calls from all over the world about what was being called the Demon Murder Trial. Manella traveled to England to meet with lawyers who had been involved in 2 similar cases, though neither went to trial. He planned to fly in exorcism specialists from Europe and threatened to subpoena the priests who oversaw David Glatzel's exorcisms if they did not cooperate with the defense. The trial took place in Connecticut's Superior Court in Danbury, beginning on October 28, 1981. Manila attempted to submit a plea of not guilty by virtue of possession, but the presiding judge, Robert Callahan, promptly rejected this defense. Callahan argued that no such defense could ever exist in a court of law due to lack of evidence, and that it would be irrelative and unscientific to allow related testimony, which is odd. And I want to bring up a line from the film. When they're talking to Johnson's defense attorney about using this as a reason, of defense or whatever, Ed Warren in the film says something along the lines of, every time there's a trial, the court, they basically have someone swear on the Bible and suggest, God is real. So why not be able to use a defense that the devil is also real and has caused someone to do something? It's a little hypocritical of the court, but regardless, I'll continue. The defense chose to imply that Johnson acted in self-defense. Because of this, the jury was not legally allowed to consider demonic possession as a viable explanation for the killing. The jury deliberated for 15 hours over 3 days before convicting Johnson on November 24, 1981, of first-degree manslaughter. He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, though he served only 5.
I just don't see how he could even have gotten just manslaughter.
Well, because that one guy got drunk and got agitated. So all you have to do, you have 2 children that are witnesses, and then Debbie, who is Johnson's future wife.
Yeah, and you
as
also
witnesses that saw this. Yeah,
and the witnesses say that Bono grabbed Mary and refused to let her go, and I guess was threatening about it. So.
Yeah, I guess that just basically
Yeah. The incident led to the creation of a television film titled The Demon Murder Case on NBC and preparations for a feature film, the production of which was stalled due to internal conflicts. In 1983, Gerald Brittle, with the assistance of Lorraine Warren, published a book about the incident entitled The Devil in Connecticut. Lorraine Warren stated that profits from the book were shared with the family. Sources confirmed that $2,000 was paid to the family by the book publisher. Upon the book's republication in 2006 by iUniverse, David Glatzel and his brother Carl Glatzel Jr. sued the authors and book publishers for violating their right to privacy, libel, and intentional affliction of emotional distress. Carl also claimed that the book alleged he committed criminal and abusive acts against his family and others. He said that the possession story was a hoax concocted by Ed and Lorraine Warren to exploit the family and his brother's mental illness, and that the book presented him as the villain because he did not believe in the supernatural claims. He asserted that the Warrens told him the story would make the family millionaires and would help get Johnson out of jail. According to Carl Glatzel, the publicity generated by the incident forced him to drop out of school and lose friends and business opportunities. In 2007, he began writing a book titled Alone Through the Valley about his version of the events surrounding his brother. Lorraine Warren defended her work with the family, saying that the 6 priests who were involved in the incident agreed at the time that the boy was possessed and that the supernatural events she described are real. Brittle, author of The Devil in Connecticut, says he wrote the book because the family wanted the story told, that he possesses video of over 100 hours of interviews with the family, and that they signed off on the book as accurate before it went to print. Glatzel's father, Carl Glatzel Sr., denies telling the author that his son was possessed. Johnson and Debbie, now married, wholeheartedly support the Warrens' account of demonic possession and have stated that the Glatzels in question are suing simply for monetary purposes. The event inspired the premise of the film that we're covering today, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
The devil made me do it.
But
he made me do
I wish the priests that were involved would come out and say something. They're probably dead now.
Probably.
But that's the one thing because they're not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because it's he's suing for monetary purposes. Well, the Warrens are only involved with this because of monetary. It just so happens that all the big ghost stories they're involved with.
The only reason that the couple, the guy who killed that guy, that they would stand by it is for so that their character isn't tarnished.
Yeah, because they want that. And the thing is, going back to that, I don't really believe in ghosts. I do believe in God. I do believe in the afterlife. I haven't seen any ghosts. I haven't seen any evidence for ghosts. That doesn't mean that it's not possible. Now, there are people out there that believe in ghosts but don't believe in God, which is kind of weird because it's like, well, so you believe in the afterlife, but you don't believe, like, there's something else there, because there's got to be more to it, to me. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But like I said, I'm not going to sit there and diminish what this kid went through and what Arnie went through if he did go through something. Because then again, you don't really know. But this kid looks like he went through hell with whatever he got, if it was a mental illness or whatever. So, yeah, I just find it really, really hard to believe. Because like I said, the Warrens are kind of pieces of crap, especially Lorraine. And like I said, I mean, it's the stuff that's went through, like the stuff that they printed. These people's lives keep going on. So they're sought out by people that are probably obsessed fans of the Warrens, and like, I want to look inside the house or whatever,
Yeah, and again, going back to what I was saying earlier in this episode, a lot of their cases have a lot of holes in them, and Amityville Horror, the Amityville Haunting is probably their most famous case. And
which one's that? Can you give me a quick rundown?
It's called a movie called The Animal Horror.
Yeah, but what's the?
Well, Ryan Reynolds is in it, and he is topless, and he looks great.
But what happened in real life?
A guy killed his family with a shotgun, and he claimed to be possessed by a demon when he did it. And another family moves in and starts experiencing supernatural claims, and this is the family that wrote the book with the Warrens.
Yeah, and some of the controversy surrounding it are like, if I remember correctly, he has 3 nipples.
What?
And a cock that looks like something from the movie Anaconda, baby.
No. Do you really get to see? Do you get to see his penis?
No, you don't.
His pieces. But some of the controversies, if I remember correctly, are like the infamous photo of like the boy peeking around the doorway. I'm sure Lance knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
Like,
I'll send it to you real quick.
What's he looking at through the door?
Looking at you.
Is he like peeking around the corner?
And then I saw her standing there with green eyes and long blonde hair. She wasn't wearing underwear.
That's what he's seeing in the photo. He's looking inside your pee hole. That's what the door is.
Oh, it's looking over a banister. He's looking over a banister.
No.
So what's wrong with the photo? I mean, just go and explain it to me right now.
Well, okay, I just sent it to you and then promptly delete it because it's a creepy fucking photo. Did you get it?
I'm sending it. Cody sent it to himself in the group chat. He probably got it.
Oh,
what the fuck, dude? Good ghost.
Oh, good.
My man Ray.
Why is he looking like that?
Okay, so what's wrong with this infamous photo?
So a lot of people allege that it's doctored. They faked it. They used like glare from the lights or whatever to create the light effect in the eyes or whatever. Another controversy.
How do you fake that with an old photo like that?
I don't know. And the
I've
photo,
seen eyes like that.
I mean, I can see that in pictures. Like,
yeah.
I think that's probably a real kid, and that's just the flash from the camera. I don't think that's doctored. I think it's a happy accident. They're like, hey, let's try to make this legend even more real.
Yeah, I mean that photo is creepy as fuck. But that's one of the photos from that haunting or whatever. And another controversy was that the whole story about the shotgun murders in the house, supposedly, if I remember correctly, there's no solid evidence to actually prove that ever happened.
No, I think that's a real thing. The guy did kill his family there.
Okay, so maybe
let me look that up real quick. Hold on, I just want to make sure. You go ahead and keep talking. But
so it's either that or maybe the family had just like read about it and they used it to their advantage or whatever to like fuel the story of the haunting in their house. But I mean, that was probably the first time. That was the case that got them on the map.
Okay, hold on one second. I found it. It is based on the true crimes of Ronald Defoe Jr. So that guy who did kill his family, he shot and killed 6 members of his family at that house.
Okay.
And that movie's about the people that moved in afterwards, like a year after or whatever.
Yeah.
And he claimed that he was that, but also he's fucking nuts.
Yeah, he's full of shit.
Yeah, and they actually do briefly cover that in The Conjuring 2, if you remember, Lance. It's in the very beginning. And they even have the shot.
What are they covering? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
The Amityville haunting. It's in the very beginning of The Conjuring 2.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I had to
Yeah,
really
and
watch that.
even like the boy of the picture that I just sent you, they reference it where I think in the film he's not peeking over the banister, but he's like looking around a doorway or something, and he's got like the bright white lights or whatever in his eyes.
Yeah. Real quick, The Conjuring 2, the whole sequence until I think when they reveal the nun, and probably after you see her once, that whole fucking movie's like terrifying to me.
Oh yeah,
like the whole shit that's in the house, like when they're shaking the bed of the little girl. And you got that little crooked man shit. That shit was terrifying up until I saw the nun like the third time.
Yeah,
and that's when it just kills it. Because
Yeah,
I kept thinking, the beautiful people, the beautiful people. Ah!
And that movie, of course, kicked off the Nun spinoff, and supposedly they're working on a Crooked Man spinoff too. But we'll cover that movie some other time because I do actually want to go back and at least cover the other two Conjuring films at some point.
Of course, let's go ahead and give me more fucking nightmares.
Conjuring Part 6.
Conjuring.
The devil made me not do it.
The Conjuring is like to the horror franchise that Fast 9 is to everything.
Yeah, it is kind of like that.
Yeah, it's starting to get that way, which it is my favorite, even though it does have like very low points in the franchise. As an overall horror franchise, it's probably my favorite one. Just because I like all that like demon possession, exorcism stuff.
I like that stuff too. It's always really interesting and scary.
So my girlfriend, she likes it all. There's not one that she hasn't like not liked as like a movie. And like I said, she's not terrified at all of this shit, man. I had one movie that I had watched twice. It's called The Ritual. It's on Netflix. And that movie terrified the fuck out of me the first time I watched it, and then the second time I still jumped. She watched it and only jumped like twice because I did the ha right next to her during the movie.
To be fair, Lance, and I mean, I don't know if you want this on the podcast, but you are a big scaredy cat. Like, you were freaking out in the theater, and it was funny.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I'm sorry I hurt you.
I remember when I had you play the I think it was PT. I had you.
That
play.
Shit was fucking scared, dude.
Yeah, and I think the Resident Evil 7 demo. I remember like you see Jack walk past the doorway and you're like sitting there and you're still as a statue, but you're just like, huh.
Hey, look.
Welcome
in
to
the moment,
family, son.
Okay, for the longest time, I didn't know how to enjoy movies when I was a kid because I just didn't. And then when I've gotten older, I just get kind of lost in them. I choose not to try to look for the flaws. I try to get lost in the movies. And when I get lost in them, I start feeling these emotions. And then the scariest part, it is scary. There were like at least 3 times in this new one I went, oh my Lord. But no, that second Conjuring movie was like, especially like that fucking one scene where she's looking around the living room like she's on her like hands and knees, the little girl. And she goes to the television. She's trying to get to the television to turn it back on. And then you look up and that fucking old man's there. I can't remember what he says. It's like, my TV or some stupid shit.
Yeah, I think he says, like, get out of my house or something.
Oh, yeah, he goes, my house! And his eyes are fucking yellow and shit. But that
Does
shit
he
was
really say that? Like
yeah, but he keeps saying, he's like, my house. It's just fucking
he's
terrifying.
like a 4-year-old. My house!
Yeah, well, that's all he can really say. It's like, then he has a conversation with him. It's really fucking... That part's wild, but then you see the nun, and it's like, okay. And then the nun movie, there's like the first half is scary to me. Not first half, probably the first quarter, and then at the end, it's like, you have to get rid of the nun with the blood of Jesus Christ we have in this little plastic thing. I'm like,
oh yeah,
what
it kind of gets goofy. It's like, okay.
And then it doesn't even get rid of the nun because it comes back. I'm like, how stupid is this?
What do they do with the blood?
Okay, this is the gross part. Because you think if it's the blood of Jesus Christ,
it'd be like holding a fucking like relic, or you know what I mean, like those little like showcase like things in the Catholic Church.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a bright red liquid.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when blood's left the body, even after like 5 minutes, it turns black. So this thing should be really, really black because it's just blood from a human body. It wasn't a divine body.
Well, it was also wasn't it alcohol?
No, it wasn't alcohol.
You're confusing like drinking wine as the blood of Christ.
I'm confusing the
communion.
Anyway,
I don't know.
Communion
She
process.
the girl, I don't know what she does. Like the nun, okay, the nun's a ghost, but she's drowning the chick in that movie. I'm pretty sure. And then when she comes up, go ahead, Cody.
She's a demon in the whole thing. Like it's a demon just pretending to be a nun.
Yeah,
demon?
but the thing is, I'm retarded. But she's drowning the chick, and she picks her back up, and she looks for the container that's got the blood because it's supposedly the only thing that stops her. And the container's broken. She looks up at the chick she's holding up by her neck, and this chick spits the blood in the demon's face. And then she goes down the drain like she got flushed like a big turd.
She's like, oh.
Yeah,
That shit got stupid.
that was another one that, I mean, it just had such great potential, and it started off so strong. Like,
Man, when that chick, the nun's running away from the nun, the real nun's running away from the demon,
yeah.
and then she hangs herself. That shit was terrifying. That opening scene is fucking awesome.
Oh yeah,
Then when the dude he falls into the grave and somehow
it's like covered up and stuff. Like,
After that though, it just got.
I can't remember any moments in the first one that were really that scary though.
I think the only thing, the only thing that
hand claps.
Yeah, there's the hand claps, but that movie was just creepy to me. The only thing that really scared me was like when Bathsheba is on top of the wardrobe.
Yeah.
Oh, is she like looking down or some shit?
Well, she jumps down on her. She's up there like some fucked up gothic looking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then she jumps down onto the not the main woman, but the woman that gets possessed.
The thing
or whatever.
is a lot of this stuff just makes me want to watch The Exorcist.
I've never watched that movie.
I haven't either.
I remember watching it as a kid, but I was like, "Oh, this isn't scary." But
is it not scary?
A lot of
people.
It
didn't scare me when I was a kid.
I don't know how the standards are going to be.
Yeah, because I mean, in the 70s, I remember seeing like reactions from people, but like
you were alive in the 70s.
Or I remember watching.
I was 21 years old. In the 70s, I remember what people were telling me.
I remember. I just got out of Nam. Shit was crazy, dude.
Owen's a vampire.
I was taking some fucking LSD and shit.
It's like, bro, man, this is awesome.
But I remember seeing reactions of people walking out of the theater going like, "Oh my god, that was the scariest thing I've ever seen."
I can't believe Darth Vader looks dead.
But you got to think between then and now, there's been like 40 something years of, around 40 years of horror films that, a lot of which do that sort of thing better.
Well,
I think The Exorcism of Emily Rose is a much scarier exorcism film than The Exorcist.
That movie was terrifying.
I've never seen that.
It's pretty good.
The last movie that scared me was The Japanese Grudge, and it's when like the ghost is like walking and she's like leaning backwards and she's like walking into the room, and it's like from a shot of the perspective of the guy who's in the house and he's like on the ground.
Well, she's leaning backwards because if she leans forward, she'll let a fart out.
Yeah.
But
that was the most horrifying thing. I was thinking about the fart in her ass.
You guys got to think about this too. Like when The Exorcism came out, and since then all these movies, more people were quote unquote religious back then. Where a lot of people have drifted away from it, especially the newer generation have drifted away from it. So these movies are just more like a fantastical thing that's not even possible. People make movies about more real life, like terrible things like child abuse and all this shit now in movies and stuff like that depict real events. And it's like, all that nasty stuff. But it's a lot of things like this stuff right here is like still it's an escape to get away from it.
Yeah.
From like the real stuff. And that's why I like these kind of movies. I don't like movies that deal with like real life stuff like that because it's just depressing.
Yeah.
Whereas, it's terrifying in a way, but it's depressing. It's like, fuck, I just want to watch something that's 100% fake that I can just enjoy. Like Godzilla vs. Kong, shit like that. I love that kind of stuff just because it's something that can't happen and it's fucking fun. I'm not going to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and enjoy those movies because there really was somebody selling human meat as barbecue. There's no way like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees walking around.
To be fair, the Texas Chainsaw, like they say it's based on a true story, and it's based on like Ed Gein, but it like hardly resembles Ed Gein really at all.
Oh yeah, there's also a family in Texas that did that shit.
Yeah, a lot of it. The Ed Gein part comes from him like stealing people's skin and stitching it and making like lampshades and suits and shit out of it.
And Ed Gein inspired Norman Bates.
Yeah, and he inspired me in turn.
Owen does look like a weird Norman Bates.
Next thing I hear is just a knife repeatedly going into Lance. All right,
guys, it's me, Lance.
Before we do a run through of the plot, because I do want to run through the plot. This is probably going to be a long episode. Obviously.
Yeah, we haven't.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think what you covered is like a lot of the plot without the fantastical elements.
Yeah, that's pretty much like
the exploding jailhouse with all the lights. The
floating body.
Well, we're also missing the entire arc of like the Satan, the occultist woman, and all that. So I mean, I won't go into specific detail of every little thing, but I do want to cover some of the other stuff.
Cody, I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing with the other case that Lorraine went to go help solve or whatever like that. That's just a completely made up. Not the case is made up. That's something they made up for the movie, though, right? They didn't go see another.
I can check real quick.
I'm just curious about that at all. Like, I mean, because I know, like I said, this movie embraces the Hollywood of it, with the whole like I said, I made that joke with the exploding lights and windows of the jailhouse hospital thing, but it just so happened all 4 pillars of the prison are flashing the lights at it. It's like this really cool fucking scene and shit like that.
They don't focus on it either. Like,
yeah, as far as I can tell, that other case with the girl is just completely fictional for the sake of the film. I guess they had to make some other connection because the occultist was trying to have like the three murders that were representative.
The 3 amigos.
Yeah, that was representative of, like, what do they call it? The Trinity of God or something? You know, purity, faith, and love or something.
Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, I don't know where Cody got that crap. But
yeah, like Cody's like Care Bears or some shit.
Well, that's what they say in the movie. There's like.
Well, that's what. Yeah, but it's.
Well,
I think it's
the Holy.
that.
I got it confused. The Holy Trinity is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So
that's why the devil's number is supposed to be 6, because it's double of the 3. It's a mockery.
What?
Of God is what it's supposed to be.
3 divided by 2, so it was 2.5 or 1.5.
What?
Jesus Christ! What if the
That doesn't even go into that. That's 0.666. 3 divided by 2.
Wait, nuh-uh. Because if you do 1.5 plus 1.5,
no, it's 2 out of 3. Yeah, I'm fucking with you. My bad. It is 1.5. You're right. Sorry.
So over an hour into this episode, I want to run down the basic details of the movie because
you say that it's a bad thing. People love this shit, man.
Oh, I hope so. Hopefully, we finally get an episode this year that breaks 50 plays. So the film was directed by Michael Chavez, which is only other big film was The Curse of La Llorona. Produced by James Wan and Peter Safran. It stars Patrick Wilson as Ed Warren, Vera Farmiga as Lorraine Warren, and someone named Rory O'Connor as Arnie Johnson. The film has a runtime of 1 hour and 52 minutes, which isn't too bad. The budget was $39 million, and as of right now, which is what we're a little over a week away from the release of this film. Currently, it's already grossed 67.6 in the box office. So, plus whatever HBO Max makes off of people who are just going to subscribe just to watch the movie and then cancel their subscription.
How was that? I'm just curious, Cody. Did you ever see that Spiral movie yet?
No, I haven't. I heard it wasn't that great, so I figured I would just wait for it to come out and like rent it from Redbox or something.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought too. I think it's kind of funny because I think they're making they were going to make another movie called Saw X.
Yeah,
but
which it's unclear if it's going to be like the Chris Rock storyline continued or if it's going to be something else.
I wonder why. I'm just curious. Of that movie, just do a sidebar. I don't know why anybody. I think people thought. I think people thought Spiral was going to be like a completely new take on the Saw movies, and it's like, oh man, but it turns out it wasn't. I'm like, I think it's funny because it's done terrible. It's only done $36 million.
Yeah, well,
it's way worse than Mortal Kombat. And all
I think a lot of
Mortal
it's
Kombat
confusing. Yeah, it's confusing because of the naming of it. People just refer to it as Spiral, but technically the name of the movie is Spiral from the Book of Saw, which it also is weird because it indicates that it's part of that same universe, but it's not really connected to all the rest, at least not on the surface. So I don't know. I had read that it basically it just didn't do well. Like it wasn't well structured as far as the story goes. And I thought watching the previews, it looked like it would be really cool because it's like, oh, it kind of looks like if you took Seven and like stuck it into that world, but it doesn't sound like it was nearly as good as Seven is. So
that's what happens when, unfortunately, the movie of the last lowest grossing movie of the franchise, the writers come back to write the next movie just with Chris Rock going, yeah, that sounds funny. You know? Nothing against Chris Rock. I'm not trying to be like that. I'm just saying. And I'm like, you could have done something way better than with Chris Rock. He's so well known at this point. Like, you could have put somebody else in there, like a lesser known African American actor. I mean, you put Samuel L. Jackson in the shit. Like, come on, man.
I think part of it is Chris Rock is the one that came up with the idea for the story. So, and he also produced it. But anyway, let's get back to The Conjuring. So you're right. A lot of the events, based on like the accounts of Arnie and Debbie, were reflected in the film. But like we've mentioned several times, you do have the addition of the occultist, who is basically put as the antagonist of the film, and is the one responsible by placing.
She's kind of fucking lame, by the way. When she like opened her mouth and started talking, I was like, "That's not scary."
Who?
Yeah, she's not. She's not.
Lady.
She's not intimidating.
Well, she talked in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember? They literally like she first talks when like.
Oh wait, I was thinking about the demon.
And she's like, "Why are you here?"
Like, how are you doing this?
Yeah, yes, that's what she says. How are you doing this?
Oh my god, girl, you go like, get it,
whoa. Girl. She's like, "Whoa, what the fuck? How are you doing this?"
But yeah, so she's basically cursing people with demonic possession. And every curse is supposed to be a murder-suicide situation for some reason, and she's doing it by using these totems. One of them is underneath the house that the Johnson family moves into, or not the Johnson,
the Gretel family.
Yeah, what is their name? Glatzer or something
Gratzel.
like that.
I say Gretel. Hansel Gretel.
Gratzel. Is it Gratzel?
I thought it was Glatzel.
Hansel.
Glatzel, you're right. Yeah,
Hansel?
Thank you, Owen.
Hansel.
So one's under the house, which you find out, and there's that scene with the waterbed and like the demon inside the waterbed.
Okay, that was kind of terrifying. I saw that in the trailer. It wasn't scary in the movie.
See, that was one of the things. Like, it would have been best just to leave it for the movie. Like, also the scene where they're in the woods and Lorraine's like running toward the cliff. That was also in the trailer.
That seems like the way that was like shot was like the most generic like movie thing ever, where it's like, I'm falling off the cliff.
Yeah, the clip where Arnie is in jail and he's like mopping, and then like the demon like jumps out from behind him and grabs his face. That was also in the trailer. Like, they put way too much in the trailer. Like, all the big scares that could have got me, like, they ruined them. And I didn't even watch the final trailer they put out just because I was like, I don't want to see anymore. I just want to go in, from this point. But what were the scares in the film that actually got you, if there were any?
Lance, you shouldn't have any trouble with this.
Well, I'm trying to remember the movie. I really can't remember the movie.
Oh, okay.
At this point.
So like for me, I said the only one that made me jump is in the beginning when the kid was like running at the dad with the piece of the mirror or whatever.
Yeah, I think that one.
Okay, that made me jump when the kid did that, just because of the subtlety of it.
There was one before it too, where the water there's blood.
Yeah, I didn't like that. That shit was like, oh, well, that shit where the kid was hiding in the tub, and you see the hand slowly coming off the top, off the shower ring.
I thought that was cool.
That was funny. I mean, that's fun. It was funny because I'm like, oh Lord, and then the blood is like, ugh. Then he stabbed the dad. So that whole little sequence was pretty scary. Trying to remember seeing the demon chick grab Arnie from the back, like in jail. I didn't see the demon chick the first time, so I missed that. I probably would have jumped at that scene because I saw her the third time. I was like, ooh. And then when he I was expecting it, but right before Arnie kills the guy, but when the lights went out after Arnie's like freaking out, and then the demon chick runs after him, but she's like at him, and then that's when he stabs her, but he's actually stabbing the U2 lead singer,
Yeah,
Bono. But that's probably the only scary part for me, man. I got kind of squeamish when he was cutting his wrist. I'm like, ooh, just because I don't like that visual. But that's about it for me. I mean, I did like jump a few times. Like I said, it's a fun little thrill ride, but
Yeah.
it's a good one watch movie. That's gonna be my recommendation. Spoiler, but it's a good one watch.
What about you, Owen? Did anything scurry you?
Yeah, so the one with the kid and he's running at the dad, that one got me. I mean,
You also jump when I reach down in your seat because I dropped my phone.
Yeah, and then
You're like, whoa.
And when you reach down into my pants, that also made me jump. But I cooled off a little while into that.
He's like, ooh, chihuahua.
So there's those. I'm trying to think of what other jumps there were.
But Owen's making fun of me. Lance is scared of cat.
I really liked the sequence where he's hallucinating and stuff with the music playing. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I don't know. The whole like
Cody's a music hater.
Did you not like the Call on Me?
Well,
I thought Owen was like, did you not like the Columbine? I'm like, what the fuck, man?
the whole deal with like that whole sequence could have been more intense if it wasn't for that music just like blaring. I think it took away from the scene too much.
They should have had smoke on the water.
Although I did notice like a technical thing in the film.
Well, the movies that was a '70s song they were playing, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a late '70s song.
Yeah, because this is '81. You got to think like when you like
Speaking of that,
early decades.
Nobody in this movie really dresses like they're in the '80s. Like all the girls are wearing like modern stuff.
Well, to be fair, if you go 2001, a lot of people still dressing like they were in the 90s.
Yeah, I think we talked about that in the Friday the 13th episode because like it's technically in 1980 whatever, but it still
was filmed in '79. It's like there's a lot of mix. You don't get to like the full decade.
Yeah, but I
like
think they dress like
the
they're
fourth
like,
or fifth year of a decade.
They're modernly dressed. Like they don't look like they're from like the late '70s. Like there's no like. I don't know.
Well,
there's like that weird mom hair.
They did film
this
movie in the '80s and held on to it for 40 years. So.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Maybe I don't know that much.
You really don't.
There was a technical issue in the film where I think it was like right when they first fixed the stereo.
To get the HD. It's been 40 years. We gotta get these special effects touched up.
What, Cody?
Well, there's like a weird technical thing where like they first fixed the stereo, right? And Bono or whatever is drunk. And
Cody called by his first name. I can't keep doing this.
I don't even remember what his
Bono.
first name was. I don't even remember what his first name was.
He keeps saying Bono. I'm just like, Sunday, bloody Sunday.
Hallelujah.
Hold on. Go ahead, Cody.
But he goes like to crank up the music, and he's like turns the knob like a full like halfway higher than what it is, and it doesn't change the volume of the music at all. Like the volume stays just completely the same.
No, it did in the theater.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, but it was kind of subtle. It wasn't very pronounced.
Oh yeah, watching it at home, like it didn't have any effect. It was like, oh, okay.
You got to get that surround sound.
Okay,
bro.
hold on a second, Cody.
His name's Bono. Don't even.
The dude's name is not Bono. It's Bruno Sauls.
No, it's Bono.
His name's Bruno. Cody's been calling him Bono whole fucking time.
The real life person's last name is Bono.
I don't think so, Cody.
They changed the name of the. I guess they changed the name of the guy in the film. Yeah, you're right. In the film, his name is Bruno Sauls, but in the real life case, his name was.
It's Bono, bro.
Alan Bono. Yeah. Maybe it was a copyright issue with the name Bono. That's why they had to change it.
They were trying to get real life Bono to get in there. But
we're gonna kill you, motherfucker.
He was too busy with you too.
So, I'm trying to think of any other moments that we should talk about from the film. I know, we talked about the morgue scene where like she possesses the big fat guy, and he
Yeah.
chases after her.
Can we talk about the part where the guy in the hospital bed is singing? He's singing "Call Me," and it's not scary because it's "Call Me."
Which one? Oh, is that?
I think you were going pissing. I think you would.
No, that's the scene where Arnie's mopping, right? And he hears the guy talking.
Yeah,
That's the first time I saw the demon chick where she grabs Arnie from the
demon.
back.
It was
Why? Okay.
Oh yeah.
The first Conjuring movie, what's the witch's name, Cody?
Bathsheba.
Bathsheba is in one form if she's not
Bathsheba?
bat shit. She's in one form the whole movie.
Yeah.
The second movie, you see the old man ghost, but then you find out he's being controlled by the nun. That's the main ghost, which is kind of a cool little twist. But this movie, you only see the chick that's supposedly the true form of it, I'm assuming. Unless she was in the hospital or something.
The
chick is the witch.
it's hard to it's hard to
What's
say
the real
because
form of this demon?
I guess it is that the weird like woman with the long teeth and all that. I guess that is the demon, but it's hard to because it's a lot of her features are similar to the woman who's actually like summoning the demon. So is it the demon itself, or is she just like projecting some of her own features onto it, or it's hard to say.
Because I mean, the time I saw her, she didn't look like the chick that summoned her, and you see, looks exactly like the chick that summoned her at the end when she shows back up. But this demon's taking multiple forms. Like I thought she was wearing like hospital clothes originally, but then again, I didn't see her the first time, so I don't know what they could have took that appearance from.
Yeah, the first time she shows up, I guess is in the house, right? Owen, where the guy
that's when he's looking in the hole in the wall.
Rat.
Yeah, he looks in the glory hole.
Yeah,
oh my God.
She's just wearing like the same thing that she's wearing like at the end, when they have the showdown, and she ends up dying with her legs all snapped backward.
The chick, so she's actually wearing like a black dress.
Yeah, with like a white collar type thing.
Really? Does she have her hair tied up in a bun?
Yeah, I don't actually remember her looking like the demon when she shows up at that part. She just looks like how she looks. I thought
she looks like Christabella from the Silent Hill movie, or whatever.
Doesn't she have like long stringy hair in the prison though? Like the hair's down. She just doesn't look like. I didn't think she looked like the chick. You people watch the fucking movie. Come help me.
You know what's funny is when she blows that.
Whoa. Okay.
yeah. You know where this is going. But when she puts that like sand stuff into Ed's eyes.
Yeah.
I thought like the demon, because she looked straight up like the guy who was possessed in prison. Like it was like almost the same haircut. So I thought it was his head on her body for a second.
What guy was possessed in prison?
The guy who's trying to kill himself in prison.
Oh, Arnie. Okay.
Yeah, Arnie.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't understand why she had to use that sand stuff in the first place, because Ed had already kind of been affected by, the visions and stuff before without it. So, I don't know.
So,
I guess you're right.
so the first time you see her, she looks like the last time you see her. She looks like the chick.
Yeah.
But why does she look like different in the jail though? Because she's wearing like a white scrub almost. Is what it looks like. That's the time you see her when the guy's like, I know you, I see you. The weird guy, that's Arnie's mopping the hospital floor.
Yeah, where the demon comes out and like grabs his face or whatever.
Yeah, but she looks completely different there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's unclear.
It's cloudy with the side of my bulbs.
Give the demons clothing. Like the Annabelle demon is just like this weird goat man. They actually reference the Annabelle demon in this movie when they talk about like the children of Ram or whatever.
Real quick, was it the Conjuring movie or was it the first Annabelle movie that had like the creepy looking ghost girl that was holding Annabelle, rocking in the chair?
That's the second Annabelle movie.
So, but it's actually at the Warren. Are the Warrens in that movie?
And no, they're not in that one. They briefly show up in the first Annabelle movie, but it's just basically the same scene that they have in the first Conjuring movie.
Okay, but there's a scene I think it's in the Conjuring movie where like all the evil in the room is getting unleashed or unlocked potentially, and then Ed or somebody looks over in the rocking chair and No, it's the fucking... I can't remember. The chick's holding the Annabelle doll, rocking in a chair, and she stops. She gets... I can't remember what...
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's the woman. She's a grown woman or whatever.
What movie is that?
I think it's the first Annabelle movie, right? No.
It's the first Conjuring movie, because I can't remember if that movie was that convoluted or not.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen those.
But that's not something I made up in my head. That's a real thing in the movie, right?
Yeah, I do remember what you're talking about. I just don't remember.
Because she kind of gets up and chases after him. Because like it's the whole, it's got to be a Conjuring movie because it's the Warren's room.
It's the Are you sure it's the Warren's room?
Yes, it's that room because it's the room full of all the evil shit he has locked up.
Yeah, it has to be the first one then, because the second Conjuring movie never really deals with Annabelle at all. After that, it's just pretty much the Annabelle movies.
But what ghost was that fucking chick that was holding the Annabelle doll? Because she wasn't connected to the doll at all.
I think it may have been maybe it was a nod toward the girl. You remember in the Annabelle,
I hadn't seen Annabelle. I haven't seen any of those movies. You have though.
Oh yeah, that's right. You haven't. In Annabelle, there's a woman who they break into this house that the doll's in, and she's like, "Oh, I love your doll" or whatever, and like, they're like part of this cult, the Children of Ram, and she ends up killing herself while she's holding Annabelle, and that movie tries to make it seem like because she like cuts herself and she draws like this stuff on the wall in her blood, and it's supposed to like indicate that that's how the demon possesses the doll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I want to watch these movies just because I'm really curious. I'm sure they're all on HBO Max. That scene, I just remember being creeped out because it's like it's the chair that was in that room, or maybe it was outside. It was a rocking chair, and you heard this creak, and whoever was in the room, if it was Ed or Lorraine, I can't remember which one. They look back, and it's that chick. She's got long blonde hair, kind of covering her face, and she's holding the Annabelle doll. And it stops, and she stands up and chases after him or some shit. It's fucking like terrifying, that scene. But
yeah, I can't remember exactly.
Okay. Hopefully I'm not misremembering it. It's something else I saw, but I know it was that fucking Annabelle doll. Which is weird because there is a true story behind the Annabelle doll, but all the Annabelle movies are completely false. Like, there's no base in reality.
Yeah, it's about as much as it connects to the real world is just the scene in the first movie where, like, you have the two nurses or whatever that call the Warrens, and they're like, this doll, like, is moving around the apartment on its own. That's pretty much as far as the real life story goes.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That shit was kind of scary. Like, you know, they throw the doll away, and then the door was knocking.
Yeah.
And then the door that was right in front of them as they were creeping up on the original door starts knocking. He's like, "What the fuck?"
And if either of you didn't know, the real life doll is a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
Yeah. Owen's girlfriend Lauren told us about this.
Oh yeah. And I guess the museum is still there in the Warren's house. You can actually visit it.
I wonder if all that shit's real. Like if they had all that shit in that room.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of it's how accurate that stuff is. I mean,
have
there is the glass case with the doll with the Raggedy Ann doll.
What about the big fat Samoan guy?
Oh my god! I don't think this dude was Samoan.
They got him tucked into the corner.
He's on like a hook.
Yeah, I was terrified. I will say this: I was terrified when he went back in there to turn the lights on, and you saw the sheet fall off the medical table, and it's like, oh shit! But then you saw the shadow, and it's just this fat guy, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like that. I don't know. I don't understand what that point was to make the demon in different forms, but that was a fucking stupid choice. It's like the dude was like, yeah, this will throw him for a loop. Ha! No.
If you're fat, it sounds like you're really interested in the room, like the Warren's room.
Yeah.
The third Annabelle movie, Annabelle Comes Home, you don't need any prior context from the other two Annabelle movies for it. Well, there's a reference to the second Annabelle movie, very briefly.
Isn't there a scene that, like, the whole thing's like the Annabelle doll kind of fucks everything in the room and unleashes everything?
Yeah, like, so...
Like, I'm going to invite that into my psyche, Cody. I appreciate it. You're a good friend.
Yeah, there's a character that goes and messes with the case and lets the Annabelle demon out, basically. And then he kind of, I guess you could say, like, kind of sets off everything else in the room. So it's really cool. It's not really a scary movie, but it's real. It's kind of fun, like seeing like all this other stuff that you've seen in several other movies, and being like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's what that thing is for. Like the samurai armor, for example. Like it does things in Annabelle Comes Home.
What is the real Annabelle ghost? What you were saying is a half goat, like Scorpion King thing?
The actual demon or whatever that possesses it is like this real. It's like I don't know if they show it briefly in this movie in the third Conjuring. There's a statue when they first go and see the priest in his house, and they go downstairs into like his vault.
It's just Baphomet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically Baphomet. Weird.
What
like,
is that? I have no idea.
It's the goat head demon that they put in like the pentagram and stuff.
Yeah, except his face isn't like a goat face, but he's got like the horns and stuff. So it's basically an altered version of Baphomet, basically. But is there anything else in this film that you all want to go over?
Kind of anticlimactic. Like you think as much as they've been running around when he's banging shit up with the sledgehammer. After she gets him, she goes, "Come back to me," and makes it some love story bullshit again, like it has in the past two movies.
Yeah,
like,
and you can see the solution to like breaking the table or whatever. As soon as he starts slinging the sledgehammer around, it's like, oh well, she's gonna eventually lead him to the table, and he's gonna end up smashing it that way.
Here's the thing: I didn't think that at all. I didn't think that he was gonna be like, oh, okay. It was just weird because the chick has been at the table already. She's lit the candles, and she's doing the last incantation she's supposed to do. But then but going back to Lorraine and Ed, and they're having that moment, and then he smashes the table. But then the chick walks back up. Like, where did she go in the first place?
Yeah. Well, I guess she's running around the halls or whatever. But
that chick don't run. We know this. Come on now.
Well, she does do that weird teleportation thing in the room where she kills her dad.
That shit was kind of like, man, that's fucking scary.
Teleports behind.
That's scary. It's kind of bad. It's sad too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just this movie was really strong, and I was really interested by the possession murder story, and I think they could have done some interesting things with that, but then they kind of throw it to the wayside for just this plot about this witch lady, and it kind of just loses my interest.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I really wish they would have focused on the whole, like, him actually being possessed aspect of it, as opposed to, like, the occultist side of it. It just feels like they had two different ideas.
She wasn't scary, and she wasn't a compelling villain, really.
Yeah, and it felt like they had two different ideas for movies, and they're like, well, maybe we can make this work together, and it doesn't... I guess it's functional, but it doesn't really work well for a horror film.
I also think that I know that The Curse of La Llorona has a bad Rotten Tomatoes, and I usually don't go off that. But seeing how it's the same director as in this movie, that this movie failed, and this is his second attempt at it, that it's probably on the director at the same time.
Yeah, well, that's what I was worried about leading up to it, because La Llorona was such a disappointment, and when I first read that James Wan had basically handed over the directorial duties to Michael
He's pretty much
Chavez.
Kevin Feige.
Duty.
Yeah, and that's basically what James Wan has become for the Conjuring universe. He is the Kevin Feige. And it's weird because I remember reading interviews and stuff where Wan had said, like, he was so impressed by Chavez's work on La Llorona that's why he selected him to do The Conjuring 3, which really I think it should have stayed where Wan directed the Conjuring films and had other directors come in for the spin-off movies. I mean, I think it should have stayed that way.
Yeah, but he's went on to different things. He's got the DC stuff now.
Yeah, which
and he's producing Mortal Kombat. He produced this. And
yeah, well,
all this other stuff. He's probably just got to the point. He's like, look, I want to do like more blockbuster shit. I've already done this small stuff.
Yeah, and that partially, yeah, I can see that. But even then, like, Wan originally was set to direct the Flash movie. He was supposed to direct Aquaman and the Flash, and because The Conjuring became so successful, he still wanted to do Aquaman, but he passed on doing the Flash after that because he's like, I don't. He specifically said something like, I don't need that movie,
Yeah, but then the Aquaman became so successful that he became even like better off.
Yeah.
Because put it this way, all the Conjuring, like this whole franchise, if you look at the budget, because I looked up on the article, the budget for all 8 movies put together is like $167 million, and it's grossed like $1.9 billion altogether, which is huge.
Oh, yeah.
But Aquaman itself grossed that by itself. It got into the $1 billion range.
Right.
So he's a fucking megastar at this point. Like, so he's kind of a producer.
He also directed one of the Fast and Furious movies, and I understand that. It's just, especially because it took so long to get a third Conjuring movie, that I thought for sure. Because you think about it, you had the Conjuring, and then you had the first Annabelle movie, and then you had the Conjuring 2, and then all of the other spin-offs have happened between the Conjuring 2 and the Conjuring 3.
Yeah, but he didn't do any of the Annabelle stuff, did he?
No, he was just a producer on it or whatever.
Which means he just kind of shows up and says, "Oh, it looks good," and leaves.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
and the first Annabelle movie is the worst movie in the entire franchise, in my opinion.
So you like La Llorona better?
Yeah, slightly. I mean, it's not much better, but it is better than the first Annabelle. Because the demon is just... They show the demon a lot. He's goofy looking in that movie. But it's weird because they use the same demon in the second film, the second Annabelle movie, and he's just... The director of that movie nailed it in the second one. That may actually be the best movie in the entire franchise. So it's weird, like in that same spin-off trilogy, you have, in my opinion, the worst movie in the franchise and then the best movie in the franchise.
That is intriguing. It's like in all the Spider-Man movies are terrible, but Venom is so great. It's a really good thing that Sony's doing here. Yeah, I mean, other than that, there wasn't much. Like I said, I left them as soon as I walked out the door. I was sitting there making a joke with Owen, just random jokes. I wasn't even a joke about the movie. And then my girlfriend said she liked it, and I, at that point, even when I walked out of the theater, I had a hard time remembering everything in the movie. I'm like, what the fuck was that? It just instantly left my mind. Like, it is a good trip for the moment. Yeah. And, like, I think
our perspectives are a little colored because we were in the theater, and we haven't been in a theater for, like,
I have, though.
Okay.
So, but it was still fun. I enjoyed it. I know you... The funny thing was, Owen, what did you say about those people next to us, Brittany? That was annoying you?
There was this, like, person all the way on the far side of our group that, like, kept clearing their throat, and I thought it was in the movie at first. And then, like,
the director's like, sorry, guys, go ahead.
Yeah, they kept going,
Yeah, well, at least it's
that
not
annoys
like
you.
My experience going to see It Chapter 2, where you had kids jumping up and down and hollering and stuff.
That was bad.
Because they were getting scared. Oh, I was so pissed.
Cody was extremely pissed. Hey,
sorry, Cody, that was me.
When I saw Godzilla vs. Kong, which is the first movie I had seen in over a year in the theater, the last movie I had seen at that point was It Chapter 2. I just don't go to theaters like I used to because I don't have the need to. But me and my dad went to watch Godzilla vs. Kong in theaters, and I swear somebody fucking came up. Somebody was sitting behind me, and you could just hear this. Hold on. Just fucking crinkling their fucking chip bag. I'm like, golly damn, somebody bought fucking nachos. And then before that, I had some kid just banging on the seat, which I can feel halfway down the fucking road going. And I'm just like,
that's awesome.
I looked at my dad. Me and my dad were both pissed, and I was just like, this bitch don't say anything to her kid. I'm going to. It was just annoying, but by the time the theater was fine. And in the Mortal Kombat, it was just me and my girlfriend, one other person, because we went late night. So this is my third experience in a movie theater, and it was fun. It wasn't a lot of people. At least it was spread out, like it should be with the COVID thing. But yeah, that was the fun part about it. Like I thought going into it, the ending was going to suck. And the ending sucks. There's a cool little nugget where they play the real audio tape from The Exorcism.
Scary.
Yeah, which they've done that before. You remember the end of The Conjuring 2, they play the real life tape of when they're interviewing the little girl, and it's supposedly the old man speaking through her or whatever.
Yeah. And like I said, of the 3 Conjuring movies, because I can't speak on it, the second one's probably the scariest. To me.
Yeah, I agree.
Up until like that one keeps its aura up until you get the ending. Instead of like this movie lost its aura probably going into the halfway point, if not a little bit before. Yeah. And it's just like, okay. And then you see the fat guy and it's just jumped the shark. But then you had the whole like like I say, I keep referencing it, the prison hospital scene where the windows blow out and nobody seems to be rushing.
It's like a fucking superhero movie.
It is.
It's like you're watching Avengers.
It's so weird. I'm like, yeah, we jumped the shark completely with this shit. I don't think this happened. This part. But that's why you can slap anything on it says based on a true story. Like Owen can sit there and tell me some story about him getting chicken pox, and I turn it into him having herpes.
And me having a big penis.
Well, a tiny penis and the herpes. But it's like, well, that's based on a true story. That's kind of like what that means.
So overall, would you recommend the film?
It's a one-watch movie that needs to be watched completely in the dark. Like, just to set the mood, it needs to be at night. It's a one-watch movie for me because you won't want to go back to it.
What about you, Owen?
Yeah, this is basically like a theater popcorn movie to me. It didn't really have a whole lot of things that are going to, like, stay with me or anything. It had...
Except our herpes we got together.
Except my horrible STDs that I have. But yeah, there wasn't as much scary imagery that was going to stick with me. I'm sure the first two movies and, like, some of the earlier of this series are probably pretty good. But I just think maybe there might be, like, some kind of just general decline or something going on. And this one was kind of just one note.
Yeah.
It's a very much, you can tell James Wan is not the one guiding the ship anymore.
Right.
He's the ceremonial captain. Like, yeah, go over there. And somebody else is doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I pretty much agree. If you're a horror fan, it's worth watching once, but it's definitely not one, like, if I'm going back to watch something in the Conjuring series, I wouldn't be looking forward to watching it again.
And I'll go ahead and say this. There's three of our opinions that are kind of maybe jaded to an extent. My girlfriend liked the movie. It wasn't something that she absolutely loved, but she did like the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like, from the word go, she wasn't scared at all in it. So, like I said, she was intrigued by the story. And she was really intrigued by the real life part of it that she wanted to go look up afterwards. So you listen to this review, you may like the movie. So that's why I say go at least give it a shot. This isn't Freddy Got Fingered and just avoid it.
So Owen, now is your moment. Have you actually chosen what movie you're doing for the next episode?
No. I have a couple like ones that I'm thinking about, but I kind of wanted to. There was one I wanted to watch before I'd settled on it. The problem is I don't want to fucking subject you guys to a movie that you guys are just gonna fucking hate.
Well, how do you know we're gonna hate it if we don't watch it?
Because I like fucking weird ass movies.
What are your options?
I wanted to watch either Blue Velvet or Mulholland Drive, which are David Lynch movies, and I know for a fact that you guys probably will not like David Lynch movies.
Well, worst case scenario, me and Cody can just riff on and have fun with them.
Yeah. Or I wanted to watch Master and Commander: Far Side of the World, and I know you guys probably wouldn't like that.
That's the Russell Crowe movie?
I've never heard of any of that.
Yes, that's the Russell Crowe movie.
That's a Russell Crowe movie. Is it made by Disney?
No, it's not made by Disney. You're you're like crossing it with Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, but it came out around the same time.
Yeah, it's a sailing movie. It's about the Royal Navy and stuff, but it's specifically based on this book series that I'm currently reading.
I mean, dude, you pick. It's a podcast. We're supposed to have fun with this.
Yeah, you're supposed to pick whatever you want to pick.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of the thing. It's like, I don't want to pick this if you guys aren't gonna like this. No, fuck it. You don't know what you're going. Like, I showed my girlfriend Escape from Alcatraz and The Fugitive, and she loved both movies.
Yeah. Well,
you give me Freddy Got Fingered.
That actually ended up being a really good episode, I think. So.
Yeah, but I think Lance actually secretly likes Freddy Got Fingered.
No, I don't. I just
he keeps quoting it at work.
Look, I defend it. I defend it more than you guys do, and it wasn't even my fucking movie.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a wholly pretty terrible movie, but
it's shitty. But he purposely does it to make it shitty. Why are we still talking about this?
Because it was a really interesting.
We've mentioned this. I've mentioned this 4 episodes straight now. We've talked about it at the end for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, I guess the Owens movie is still going to be a mystery, and probably until like 2 days before we're supposed to watch it.
Okay,
so.
we're going to do this right now. Okay, I am going to hold
his breath.
A number out. Owens, can you see my hand, Owen, where I've got the number?
No.
Okay, so we're going to number the movies. Commander's 1.
Yeah.
Blue Velvet's 2, and the other one is
Mulholland Drive. That would be 3.
Yeah. Okay. So guess what number is? I'll tell you what number I have. I've already picked the number.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so we're
Blue
doing
Velvet.
Blue Velvet. Okay. That movie's fucking crazy. I know that.
I can't wait. So
Okay,
we're
so
going to be doing
doing
Blue Velvet.
Okay, we're doing Blue Velvet next, and then after that, it'll be my
I've
turn
never watched
again.
it before. So
Real
And,
quick question: how is it Blue Velvet? Velvet's kind of like a purple.
there's like specifically like a dress in it that's like blue velvet.
Interesting.
Velvet's just a material.
I wonder. Well, isn't that also a color?
You're thinking of violet.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
Violet.
How about
You're
thinking
trying
about
to run like
Violent?
Violet?
We should watch The Incredibles too.
No, we need to watch Cat in the Hat, man. Not
yeah.
Cat in the Hat. Yeah, Cat in the Hat. That's it.
That movie's fucking.
Which one's more
stupid.
wild, Blue Velvet or Cat in the Hat?
Oh, Cat in the Hat, where he says "dirty hoe." God damn, that shit too hot to air.
That made 5-year-old Owen going, "Woo, mama, this is a great movie." But I guess we'll go ahead and just sign off for today's episode.
Yeah,
Cody,
so
thank
I
you for
actually
being
wanna
such a gracious host.
Yeah, I want to do an official outro since we haven't done one for like the last 3 episodes. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy it, please subscribe on whatever podcast service you like to listen to it on. And
If you also
please-
enjoy this, please send herpes medication to Owen at P.O. Box 6969.
Hell yeah, dude.
at Top Hat Wishbone.
Yeah.
All right, I guess that's it. So, see you next time.
On Dragon Ball Z.
We get the Dragon Balls next episode.
No, we should watch a Dragon Ball movie, Cody.